Guys, welcome back to What's Not Sports. I'm your host, Will O'Connor. This is episode 58, and we're here for another episode of the Pulse Check. We're covering two major things today. We're going to cover rugby league, the league loop, and we're going to talk surf life saving, surf sports, clubby chatter, whatever you want to call it. Clubby chatter is what we call it on the pod here. I'm by myself again in the studio. That's all right, but we've got to get through a few things. In rugby league, in the league loop, we want to talk about the first round of the preseason challenge. Talk about someone who might be being a rival to Cooper John's 2023 performance as MVP of that year's preseason challenge, the inaugural one. We're then going to talk a little bit about Payne Haas. We'll get into that in a second. We then will jump into what to look at for, the next round of the preseason trials. And then we're going to finish the league loop with diving into the Raiders lineup for this weekend's preseason challenge. As you guys know, I'm a huge Raiders fan. If you guys want to skip that, that's okay. But I just thought I'll talk a bit. It's my podcast. I'll talk a little bit about what I love. I love the Raiders. There's a few interesting picks in that I want to talk about that. Is unique to a lot of, I would say it's probably the most unique picks that they've done out of all the other teams in the NRL for the preseason challenge so far. So I'm eager to talk about that. Once we get into clubby chatter, it's a grand finale of the World Ocean Series this weekend. We've got a double header. Friday is the Sunset 10,000. Saturday, the Shannon Eckstein Classic. 20,000 points on the line overall for every event. For the Iron, $10,000 up for grabs on Friday afternoon, and then $25,000 on Saturday if you can win the Eckstein Classic. Get your name up on that poster. Along with that, the Iron Series, World Ocean Series, Iron Series title up for grabs. 10 grand on top of that. And a brand new car. So if you're someone like Lana Rogers, you're looking at potentially, if she takes out the Friday and Saturday, that's 35 grand. She'll definitely have the iron points wrapped up there for the overall series there. Another 10 grand, that's $45,000 plus a car. So just throwing it out there, there is a lot of money to be made this weekend. Obviously, there's heaps of money in the individual events like ski, board, swim, the overall points for that. But the iron, it is the pinnacle of our sport. It is the money maker. So we'll talk a bit more about that. We won't dive into too much of, I guess, the individual disciplines other than the iron. But we'll get to that when we get to that. And yeah, let's dive in first to the league loop. Last weekend, we had the Bulldogs versus the Cowboys. Your boy picked up the Cowboys. They had a few more A-grade players playing, a few guys returning from injury. They got the job done over the Bulldogs. They played a much more reserve grade side, but still nonetheless a very close game. I think it was like 34-30 or something really close like that. So high scoring points, not a lot of difference in the margin. Good to see some good footy straight away. Dragons versus Knights. I had the Knights picked. I really thought I didn't actually get to watch these games so much. I watched a bit of the highlights. The Dragons got the win there. Really impressed about Cade Reed. Oh my gosh, could he be better than 2023 inaugural preseason challenge MVP Cooper Johns? That is a question. Is this performance better? I guess we'll see. Well, we won't see him again because the Dragons are now putting a more, full team lineup this weekend, probably to get ready for Vegas, which is happening in 2 weeks. The season's coming quick. It's getting exciting. They want some more of those A-grade starters to get more, probably just get a feel. They probably won't play a full game, but that's what I'm sensing from the Dragons. That's what I got for the weekend. There was only the 2 games. Not much to comment on the games other than what I've said. But yeah, really impressed by Cade Reed's performance. The halves in that Dragons combo. Flanagan needs to watch out because Caterine is knocking on the door and he looks like he could be a great performer. So watch that space there. Now, let's dive in. Let's talk about Payne Haas. Bombshell. Sunday. I'm enjoying my Sunday and all of a sudden my phone buzzes. See a post 2 minutes ago. Payne Haas set to leave the Broncos at the end of 2026 and head to the Rabbitohs. So for the next half an hour, I'm texting my mates that go for the Broncos and a mate that goes for the Rabbitohs. And we're going, is this true? What the hell's going on? This is insane if this is true. If this is true, this could possibly be the signing of a decade. Like, it's Payne Haas, one of the most influential forwards, if not the most influential forward in the game right now. Definitely front row. 100% is the best prop in the game. We're going, what the hell? 20 minutes later, my mate forwards an email from South saying that he is signed. We're now in the 10-day cool-off period. He can change his mind, but it looks like the Broncos aren't going to put an offer forward because once Payne puts his mind to something, it's very unlikely it's going to change. That's just the type of guy he is. It sounds like Payne's team approached the Rabbitohs and Wayne wasn't happy with potentially the contract that was coming from the Broncos. There's rumours saying that the Broncos wanted to underpay, well, not quite underpay, but pay him less than what he's earning at the moment, where the Bunnies said that they will pay more than that. But then there's also, on the flip side, rumours going that South only had to match what the Broncos were putting forward, unless the only thing I can think of in other terms is if Broncos are lowballing Payne and his manager and team has gone, if you offer Payne what he is on now, he'll 100% come. But that's those are the three possibilities I'm thinking. Obviously, he started his career under Wayne Bennett at the Broncos. Fafita and Latrell Mitchell have apparently had huge sway, as well as Wayne, obviously, on getting him there. I am very interested to see how they'll go in 2027. The Bunnies have a lot of young talent and a lot of good players. If they stay healthy this season and next season, in 2027, they'll be a huge threat. The Broncos could be potentially in a bit of shambles. Adam Reynolds retiring after this season. Just want to point that out. But in saying that, Jonah Pezzett will be joining the Broncos in 2027 after his season this year with the Eels. It'll be very interesting to see what happens there. But Payne Haas, really bombshell, so surprised from that. But you got to do what you got to do. Let's see this space. I don't think we'll see Payne backflip on the Bunnies and decide to stay at Brisbane. I don't think we'll see that. So, let's jump into what we've got this week in the NRL draw. We get a full weekend of rugby league from maybe even Thursday or Friday. I'm really excited for it. We'll get into it in a second. But yeah, footy's back and I love it. So let's do it. Jumping in, we got the Dolphins versus Titans, the Raiders versus Storm, the Cowboys versus Panthers, the Wires are playing Manly, Tigers versus Roosters, Knights versus Bulldogs, the Dragons versus the Bunnies, and the Sharks versus the Eels. Let's start off with Dolphins and Titans. I was thinking of picking the Titans here, but it seems that they're resting a lot more players. Well, not playing as many A-grade players as the Dolphins have. The Dolphins lineup actually looked like a pretty strong lineup in the fact that a lot of these blokes have played quite a bit of A-grade footy. I think that experience will show in this preseason game. And they'll beat the Titans. I'm not saying the Titans are going to be a bad team this season. we'll get more into that maybe next week. I'm not sure if next week or the week after we're going to do our ladder predictions for the NRL. But I think the Titans, they're going to be good. But let's see what happens there. Raiders versus Storm, you know me. Raiders going all the way. Not just the fact that I'm absolutely 100% biased towards the Raiders, loving, hating, or whatever about it. They've got a lot more players that have A-grade experience than the Storm's team. We're going to go into that because I really want to talk about it. But I will say now, Ricky did say he's going to rest a lot of A-grade players. But in saying that, he wanted to test out a lot of positions, and it's actually quite a strong Raiders side going ahead. A couple people in different positions and things like that. We'll get into that in a second. But I'm really excited to see those combos, especially being a Raiders fan and being a footy fan. So that'll probably be just really fun to watch. I'll actually be racing at the Sunset 10,000 at the World Ocean Series while that game's going on, so I'm a little bit disappointed I won't be able to watch it, but I definitely will be watching the replay, the KO highlights, all of that. The next game we've got Cowboys versus Panthers. The Cowboys, I'm backing them. It's their last game of the preseason trial, so they're actually putting a lot more A-grade boys forward. Tommy Dearden's in it. I think they want to get a run of playing footy before they actually go to Vegas, so they'll be 2 weeks out. It's got a pretty strong side compared to the Panthers. Like Penrith didn't have many A-grade starters at all compared to the Cowboys, so I've got them there. Warriors versus Manly. I just like the Warriors there. They're testing a few things back. They got like a Halasima playing in the backs and the centres, so that'll be really interesting. They're testing out a few more players in the second row, so let's see what happens there. I just think Manly, they're not putting an A-grade forward. None of their starting halves, like things like that. Like Tanner Boyd, he's playing for the Wires. He's got real good experience in A-grade. We saw him do some clutch moments last season, so I think just that experience and also the youth and power of like a Halasima will probably be too much for this Manly side for the trials. But in saying that, it is all just pre-season trials. It doesn't mean that much. Just your team wins 100k. Like Knights versus Bulldogs. The Bulldogs are putting forward a stronger side than what the Knights are. Well, the Knights are actually putting a pretty full-strength side almost. So I was actually tossing and turning, but I think the fact you got Stephen Crichton playing, Burton and Galvin in the halves really be interesting. I'm really excited, to be honest. Like, I know all that Lockie Galvin chat, the things I didn't like about it and all that last season, but now he's actually probably settled into the Bulldogs a whole heap more. He's had so much more time to just be a part of the team, gel, combos, all those things. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes. But believe it or not, I'm actually excited to see it, so pains me to say it. But yeah, the Bulldogs will get the win there. Dragons versus Bunnies. The Dragons, obviously, it's their last week pre-season challenge as well. They're heading to Vegas. They've got a pretty full-strength side compared to what they had last week. And the Bunnies, they just don't. They're probably saving it for next week. That's all I got to say. Like, it really looks like they're getting their, like, all the teams will be doing it, putting their more A-grade side on the second week of the trials, or the pre-season challenge, I should say, just to get them the field play. And yeah, I reckon the Dragons will get the win there. And then Sharks versus Eels. Eels, like, they're both in their first week. Not too many players standing out. Probably more for the Eels. So I decided to go pick the Eels. But yeah, that's it. So if you didn't get it, I've got the Dolphins, Raiders, Cowboys, Warriors, Tigers, Bulldogs, Dragons, and Eels taking out this weekend. I don't even think I talked about Tigers versus Roosters. Same thing as what I've said most of the time. The Tigers just putting a slightly more A-grade side in front than the Roosters are. that'll probably be a really tight match anyway. Like, it's pretty similar. Like, it was the fact that there was like probably 2 more Tigers players that were going, they could actually make an impact, where the Roosters, I was just going, reading, going, how's this going to go? But we'll see. Now, if you aren't a Raiders fan or a rugby league fan, you're probably not going to like this next part. It is the Raiders team list for this Friday. I hope some of you stick around, even if you're not a Raiders fan. Like, it's going to be some good chat, and it's really interesting what Ricky's done here. The majority of this team has actually played at least one A-grade game. But let's talk about it. I'm probably only going to talk about a few key players, I reckon. So let's jump into it. So I won't talk about every individual, but I'll be talking about eight or nine probably. But let's go. First one I want to start off with Chevy Stewart. He's probably only had about 4 NRL games. He's getting a start in the fullback. Obviously, they're resting Kyo Weeks. I'm really excited to see how Chevy goes. Obviously, such a great young talent, but he's competing for a very hot contested spot as that fullback. He would be that... Chevy Stewart would be the fullback if Kyo Weeks was playing as 7. That's just what I'm putting out there. If we didn't have Ethan Sanders, I think... I'm going to get a little bit deep here in terms of Raiders. If we didn't sign Kobe Black, who's obviously a pure half, and if we didn't have Ethan Sanders and Jamal Fogarty is gone like he has, I would be putting Kyo Weeks a 7. Already has that chemistry from 2024 with Ethan. They play really good footy together. They're both running halves, and I think that combo would be awesome. Like, Strange obviously has a good kicking game. So does Kyo. Like, it would just be, I think, a really explosive halves, and I would actually really like to see it now that Weeks has a lot more confidence with the ball, which we saw him in that fullback role last season, and he just killed it, and he just had so much speed, so much confidence, just so casual when he had it. I'd actually like to see that in the halves. But because we do have 2 backup 7s, well, not backup, we've now got Ethan Sanders and then Kobe Black behind him, our halves looking really healthy, and that just... Kyo just gets to play fullback, and I don't hate it. I absolutely love it, but I do feel a little bit for Chevy. Obviously being such a great player, like our outside backs, like our fullbacks and our wingers, we actually have a lot of depth in that, and I think it's insane. Like, even our centres, we have so much depth. You know me, just like, I love Simi Sasangi. He can play centres. Like, that's the depth you got. Obviously, you got Seb Chris and Matt Timoko that are so solid in those centre roles, and then you got Simi Sasagi that can come in. Like, you've got so many players that it's just good depth that we've got. But let's move on a little bit there. Michael Asamoah, he's playing on the wing. That's great for him. I want to point out this. Jed Stewart starting on the wing. Awesome. We know how good Jetty Boy is. But Sevilio Tamale, we love Tamale. He's actually playing in the centres, and he's pairing with Jed Stewart. So both are so quick, so strong, just powerful. They've both got great experience in A-grade. I actually love this combo. This combo is insane. And it gets me thinking, like, are we going to have next season, well, this season even, Jetty and Tamale pairing together? And does that potentially mean Seb Chris is on the bench, like, which we're seeing this weekend, but potentially on the other side, Simi Sasangi could play in that centre role, because we know how versatile that man is. He can play in the second row, he can play in the centres, he can play in the halves. Absolutely insane. Put him in your fantasy team, Simi Sasangi, I'm telling you right now. But besides that, he could potentially be such a good centre there. Pairing with Savage, it's too much. It's too much. We've got so much talent on the wing. And the centres, it's insane. I love it. Speaking of wingers, Dane Laurie, he's playing 7. He's playing halfback. He's going to run the show. I'm really excited to see that. That's going to be really cool to watch. like I said, we've got so much depth and talent in our outside backs, full-back roles. It's going to be really hard to crack into being on that starting side, even on the bench. So Dane Laurie, I think testing him out at 7 is actually a really cool idea. We'll see what happens there. It's just exciting times. It's just really exciting times. I love it. I love to see that Ricky's throwing a few different things in there, and we'll see what happens this weekend on Friday night and see if they gel or not. In the forwards, I really wanted to point out Matty Nicholson, obviously back from injury. He played the last couple games last season, I'm pretty sure. Maybe the last 2. I don't even know if he played that many after his injury. Obviously, at the start of the season, insane. He was so good at Magic Round. So awesome to watch. Really happy to see him. Matty Muffins getting up there, playing in that second row. Joe Roddy at lock. That'll be really cool to watch. On Paddy, he's going to be our starting hooker. It's going to be interesting what our hooker combination is, because you probably want a hooker. Well, you want a hooker on the bench. I don't think the Raiders, maybe down the track they will, but I don't think they want to play a hooker for all 80 minutes. They'll want to play someone for 50, 60 minutes, 65 minutes or so. I think that'll be Tom Starling. And then Owen Paddy, like last season we saw, comes off the bench in that 14 role and is absolutely insane, explosive, changes the pace of the game. He's just so good. But with Jaden Brayley, I don't know. It's just going to be really interesting. That's another role that is so contested. Same with it. There is so much depth to the Raiders at the moment. I absolutely love it. But we can talk more depth as we go on. Honestly, guys, if you just want a full Raiders pod, I'll do a special Raiders episode and we can talk all about it. Let's talk about the interchange, our bench on the weekend. 2 major standouts. Seb Chris, so obviously he'll probably get a run either at wing or in the centres. Who knows? Sticky might even be wanting to put him in the halves. That's that's where I'm going at this point. With all of that, the other one, how do I pronounce it? Sani Fanu. He's on the bench, so definitely going to see him probably pop out on the wing as well. That'll be really exciting to watch him. And yeah, that's my, I guess, Raiders team list that I wanted to talk about this week. Yeah, I just wanted to get that out there. It's just really exciting. You guys know how much I love the Raiders up the milk. It's been a long time since I've been able to chat about them, so yeah, more of that to come. Rightio, let's get into it. Let's talk it. Clubby chatter. It's the World Ocean Series doubleheader this weekend. The Sunset 10,000 and the Shannon Eckstein Classic, all at Northcliffe. Huge amounts of prize money this weekend, and then we're obviously getting awarded our overall series winners for each individual series, like the swim, board, ski, iron. Super exciting. I'm probably just going to throw out a few tips. I'll say for example, my best board paddler, I reckon, for the weekend, the girls, Hannah Scully. There's meant to be a bit of swell. She always performs on her home beach as well. It's going to be hard to beat her. The ski, I think Gemma Smith is down there. Janae Massey, if she's in there. I haven't really actually looked. I haven't done my surf fantasy yet. I'm doing it tomorrow. So I actually haven't really looked at the start list other than what's in the irons on Friday. Men's board, could be Zachy Morris, could be Odin Parrish, could be anyone. There's so much depth in that board. Kai Taylor, Bevy, just Charlie Verco. I think our guy C Verk will be the man. He'll be on a high after finishing up second in the Iron Series. So know how good he is at board paddling. Absolutely insane. MVP prediction, I'm going to put out Jackson Borg. He's been doing everything. Borg, he's just the cyborg, workhorse, all that. Men's swim, I think Nick Sloman will be there. He'll probably take out both days. Hayden Cotton's always there. McCleary, if he's there, he'll probably have a good performance. Cooper Williams, who knows? He might just want to go out and win it and go and win it. There's a bit of depth in that field. It's pretty cool, very exciting. It could be exciting depending on what Nick Sloman does. The men's ski, I don't think there's many Olympic kayakers coming out for that, so Lockie Tame's probably a good one to have a look at. Jakey Morris. No, I think he's at GP2 as well, so no Jakey Morris, so it's probably going to be the more retired kayakers are going to be there. Big Bad Benny Carberry, he can stand up here if he wants. If he wants to have a good performance, he will. Like I said, Lockie Tame, a lot of those Burley boys have good performances. It's just, yeah, so much depth. Even those Northcliffe boys, Newport, like Harrison Torrens is probably there. Yeah, that's kind of like what I'm thinking out. Let's talk irons though. These are a bit of bold predictions. Let's start with this one. Ali Day. It's his last ever Shannon Eckstein Classic. And his first ever Shannon Eckstein Classic was the inaugural. And he won it. He beat Shannon at his own race. He beat Shannon at Shannon's own race. So that's pretty goated stuff if you ask me. Not only that, he's now won the title twice. With my prediction, no one's done this ever before. I think Ali Day will win both the Friday afternoon 10,000 Sunset and the Saturday Shannon Eckstein Classic, etching himself in history to be the first person to ever win both irons at the doubleheader. Meaning he'll also be the first person to hit the calibre of winning the Shannon Eckstein Classic 3 times. Now, including himself, there are 3 people that have got the title twice. Bevy and Courtney Hancock. Courtney Hancock's retired, so Bevy is the only other person in the field at the moment that could go 3 times for this, and I know he would love to do that. But I think it's Ali. Ali's just going to be too good, just like he always is, the GOAT. But in saying that, anything can happen. But that's my prediction for that. Now for the girls, I think Tiani Massey takes out the win on the Friday afternoon. She does love the Shannon Eckstein Classic. I just think Friday afternoon will be her day. She'll be running on a high since she's won the Iron Series. Like, hats off to her. She's been incredible. But that's what I think we're going to see. She's going to get up on the Friday, and the Saturday it's going to be Lana Rogers' day. She'll be the second woman ever to get 2 wins. She won the inaugural one. Let's see her go win another one of the world, Shannon Eckstein Classic. On top of that, I think she goes and wins. Despite whether she wins or not, I'm almost certain that there's not many possibilities. I think it's like a 90% chance that she wins the overall series, so wins that extra 10 grand plus a car. It'll be her second time taking out the World Ocean Series Iron title there. Second time winning a car. How cool. Should love that. Very exciting. In the blokes for the overall title, I reckon Ethan and Connor, they're like not even 1,000 points difference, I don't think. Like, it's super tight with them. I reckon Ethan gets to win, like, overall win. We'll see him on the podium multiple times this weekend. And he'll take out the overall iron points in the in the World Ocean Series. Get himself a car, the Slim Reaper. He'll be hunting that. He'll also be running on a high after coming third in his second ever Iron Series. I'm just excited to see it. But yeah, it's going to be really cool. But who knows? The swell's always big down here. I actually haven't really looked at the forecast. I'll be doing that tomorrow when I do my surf fantasy. Make sure that you join the What's Not Sports Surf Fantasy. This is like the second last time that there will be fantasy done, because Aussies is the last one. So that's that. But yeah, those are my picks. Another thing I want to see, Tannen Linden, we see him return this weekend. Well, at least he's down for the iron. I would love to see him get up and get on the podium at least. He is an absolute legend. If you haven't listened to the Tannen Linden pod, the interview I did with him, the inside story, that was maybe my favourite interview I've done. It was so much fun. He's a great guy. One of the top blokes in surf sports, definitely in iron racing, and just one of the good guys. And I'd be super excited to see him get up on the podium after so much time off after his injury. Just that an injury that if he didn't pick up in the trials, he probably makes it through the trials and has a great season. But yeah, good to have him back. Let's see him go around again next season. So shout out to my man Tannen. But guys, a little bit longer than what I have been. 30-minute today, half an hour. It's pretty good. I hope you enjoyed my chatter. Rugby league fans, I hope you enjoyed the big bulk of that. I'm really excited for the Shannon Eckstein this weekend. Yeah, it's going to be good fun. Hallie will prove why he's a goat. Lana's going to win a car. Eth is going to win a car. Those are my predictions. But yeah, guys, I might see you down the beach on the weekend. I might see you around town. But if not, I'll see you on the next episode of What's Not Sports. There's more to come next week. Stay tuned. Look out on the socials and maybe potentially something on YouTube in the works in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see that. But for now, thanks for listening. If you got it this far, if you're racing, good luck, enjoy, and that's What's Not Sports. Sure.